Mr. David Morton, our press contact, has just brought us a couple more people for this hour. We actually have Josh and RJ here from
Welcome, guys.
Big Red.
Welcome,
Tell us a little bit about Big Red and what you're all about, guys.
Well, Big Red's a car me and my dad built back in the late 80s to do open road racing. And we did a number of races down in Mexico and the La Carrera and Silver State Classic. We did, in fact, win those races and averaged 199 miles an hour in the Silver State Classic.
Wow.
Had an editor from Hot Rod with me while we did it.
Yeah.
And really kind of made a name for the car. And we've continued racing it over the years. And they finally came out with the retro Z28 Camaro, which was the same car that Big Red was or is. And we decided it would be a great idea to kind of do a tribute car and then sell it at auction for Ride to Recovery for wounded soldiers.
Well, and tell us a little bit about Project Hero, the Ride to Recovery, and everything else.
Yeah, Ride to Recovery is a really great organization. They'll service 10,000 wounded vets annually. And, they get them involved in bike rides, and it's all about rehabilitation and sort of getting them reintegrated into doing things and competing. And so it's a really great cause. And,
absolutely, yeah.
We know a lot. We wanted to try and create some excitement in the auction. And so what we did was it's an actual Z28 Camaro. We put on the
2015.
Yeah, 2000,
nice.
yes. And we put on an SLP supercharger, which actually hadn't been done before to this car. And in fact, they developed the supercharger for this car, and the ones you'll get on future ones will be from this car.
Nice.
We've done suspension upgrades, did Forge Line wheels. They made wheels for us that looked like the original Big Red's wheels. And put the stripes on it, redid the interior. And we just think it's a great package. The 2015 C28, will out-handle a Z06. It doesn't have as much power, but now that we put the SLP supercharger on it, it's putting out about 640 horsepower.
Oh, wow.
And so we think, it could probably take a Z06, or at least
with
give it a run for the
ZL1. It's got the horsepower of a ZL1, but it's got the Z28 handling package.
Oh, wow.
It's everything you need in a Camaro.
Incredible.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Very nice, guys.
Well,
Love it. So this car is going to go up today, is that right?
Yeah, we're lot S84, so I think we're about 40 away.
Okay,
very nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
So we should be there here in the next couple hours. I definitely want to cover that while we're here.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be
Absolutely.
looking for that when it comes by.
All right, cool.
Absolutely, yeah. We got our fingers crossed, and really hope. We've had a lot of people come by and look at the car and give us a lot of interest. So we're kind of
Yeah,
hoping to get some good numbers for the charity.
Now-
absolutely.
It's been like a 12-month project, and it's taken 12 months to get. The sponsors were really, really generous and really jumped on board. SLP, Forge Line, UMI Performance, some smaller guys in Southern California, Hillbank Motorsports. They did all the assembly on it.
Okay.
Designer Auto Accessories, Gary Disney did all the interior. It's just beautiful red Alcantara interior. Because as you know, on the Camaros, the stock interior is leaves a little
to be desired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's a very nice way to put it.
this one will knock your socks off. So it's we initially thought maybe RJ would drive it in the Silver State Classic in September as sort of like the 25-year anniversary of what he did back in '89. But then we kind of thought maybe we'll keep the miles down and we'll thrash it. We'll let the new owner take it out and beat the piss out of it.
They're hard miles, so we
yeah.
wanted to be able to deliver the car new and totally clean.
Absolutely.
Now, how frequently do y'all race Big Red?
We do frequently, 4 or 5 times a year lately.
Oh, wow.
Recently, we've just taken the car down to its parts, and it's never been down to that basic of a part since it was built.
Oh,
and
wow.
we're going through the whole thing, repainting, redoing, rewiring, and lightening it up. And so it'll probably be done hopefully
End of
before
May.
June. Yeah, end of May, because we're going to be doing Pikes Peak challenge this year. Yeah,
Very nice.
Yeah, we'll run the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb in June, late June.
Okay.
And we're running the Pikes Peak Open class. Engine builders building a brand new motor, going to make about 1,000 horsepower. We're going to electronic fuel injection for the first time in Big Red's history.
Wow.
And,
because of the altitude, Pikes Peak, it ends at over 14,000 feet, and you can get carburetors to do it, but they're running real fat by the top. And so, the fuel injection works a lot better, and it's just part of what we've always done with Big Red is sort of a constant upgrade.
Yeah.
So after that, we're going to go back to some of the flying mile stuff like Texas with the new supercharged motor. We just ran 251.8 miles an hour in September at a 1.5 mile event in Mojave.
Wow.
Nice.
So we now claim the world's fastest 69 Camaro. If anybody out there knows anybody that's running the 69 Camaro faster than 251, please
Bring it.
let us know.
Bring it.
We just wanna-
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring that on.
And when she comes back from a redo, I think it'll even be faster, actually.
Yeah. Now,
Continue to fine-tune the supercharger.
what is it like? Because I've driven a couple cars on closed tracks, where you can go and do the sports driving stuff and everything. But what is it actually like to be in the pit and racing in an automobile like that, RJ? It's got to be an absolutely incredible experience.
It's more fun than humans should be allowed.
Yeah.
I feel very lucky and honored that I get to do this kind of stuff. It's great competition. Racers are really a great group of people, and like I say, it's really you get the chance to really kind of push yourself to the edge and really see what you can do. And it's always sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yep.
But it's always fun to compete. And I think it makes me at least still feel young.
Yeah. Well, and Josh was mentioning a few minutes ago about the upcoming changes that y'all are making, going to EFI and stuff like that with it. Not many people realize that race cars are pretty much just about a project constantly in flux. You're always finding something to tool out, something that you can make cleaner, run better. How frequently are y'all making major changes like that to Big Red?
Actually, frequently, because what we do is we try to go to new events, and even over the last couple of years, we did El Mirage and Bonneville for the first time.
Okay.
And that required a whole new setup. And as we started, for a long time in Big Red's history, we only used naturally aspirated engines.
Oh, wow.
And that's how we were able to do these 90 and 125-mile races, basically wide open the whole time, and still have the car live. But as we started to get into these mile runway events and Bonneville and El Mirage, we just realized we had to take the next step and make a lot more power.
Yeah.
And so we now we have another engine combination where we use a Pro Charger, and the normally aspirated one puts out a little over 1,000 horsepower, and the supercharged one now puts out over 1,700 horsepower.
Oh, wow.
And that's how so to do 251 in the 1.5 miles. Or in Bonneville we got up to 237. To do that kind of stuff, you got to have more than 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
So
First gen Camaro is just always going to struggle with poor aerodynamics, and we see these GT40s and Corvettes, with 108 turbos on them, and they're clicking off 240, 260s.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pretty soon you got to you got to join the dogs if you want to run with the dogs.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun going out of these events because all my competitors are, like he's saying, Veyrons, Lamborghinis, GT40s, and so we show up. Top of their car is below the bottom of my window line,
Right.
and we drive up next to them, and I say, hey, 69 Camaro. They're like, who's this guy? What is he thinking?
You want to go, bro?
Yeah.
And then, right. They go, you
wanna
always
go?
say, I go, you want to race for pink slips, but of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
I don't have the heart to give her up in case something went
Yeah,
wrong,
right.
so
Yeah, right.
can't do that. But I had a lot of fun with it.
The question I was going to ask, to your point a second ago, why a supercharger instead of turbocharged?
It was
what's gonna be
definitely
the
a
big difference for you
decision.
guys?
It was a decision we needed to make. It's a little bit which way you feel you want to go, and we just felt the supercharger would be more straightforward, if you will, and also because of the configuration of the car, we were able to just barely fit it in. We never really even tried to fit the turbos in, but you probably have to do a twin turbo system, and then you also need intercoolers.
Right.
And we probably wouldn't be able to fit it in the car.
I think it was a space issue, but I think also there was something about Big Red being sort of a classic American muscle car, and the supercharger just felt right.
Right.
Yeah,
definitely.
European cars get turbocharged.
Yeah,
American muscle cars get supercharged.
Right.
And as luck would have it, like you said, it's got a full NASCAR tube chassis in it, so plumbing and space is a little bit at a premium.
Yeah.
But the original designer, Bill Osborne, who built the car, actually set the engine about 12 inches back towards the driver and about 9 inches down to obviously
And he
weight.
did that for
weight
weight.
loss.
Yeah,
And
weight just couldn't
conveniently, that left a lot of room in front of the crankshaft for the transmission that drives the ProCharger. What size are we running? A3 Super ProCharger. So a lot of real estate there in front, not
Right.
a lot of real estate on the sides for turbos and wastegates and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. If you look at the car now, you look at with the supercharger on it, it looks like we custom built it perfectly to just set back the engine for just the amount of room we needed, because now with the supercharger we have barely any room in the front now. So it's like he said, it was kind of a lucky thing, and it just turned out that way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and I mean, being able to work that out, like you said, space becomes a premium whenever you're inside of a limited space like an engine compartment.
Well, especially if you want the car to look like a stock '69 Camaro, because
That's it.
they want higher rise intake manifolds. You start putting the supercharger on it. You start doing all this stuff, and now all of a sudden it's coming out of the car.
Exactly.
RJ has a lot of sacred cows with Big Red.
Yes.
And one of them is if he could, he'd always run the stock 2-inch cowl hood. That had to go away, when they wanted to go faster. But there's a few things like that to just because that's why the fans love the car so much, because a Corvette or a GT40 with a big turbo on it, a big wing on the back, goes 260 miles an hour, and Big Red clicks off a 230 with a naturally aspirated motor, and they don't care about the turbo car. They care about Big Red. It's an all motor,
really true,
and it's a
It's
69
amazing
Camaro.
to
It should
watch.
not be doing that, but it does.
And see, a '69 Camaro is a car that people have driven in, people have owned,
That's
people
it.
are working on now. People come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm working on mine," and I say, "Hey, good luck, get it together."
That's it, man.
But Lamborghini, who's ever even driven one? You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
right.
not. It's not.
I'd
part
like
of
to.
Their, yeah, sure. I mean, I'll take one. I'll drive it. But I mean,
I've parked
it's
one.
not right.
It's not accessible.
It's not accessible. It's not the experience people had. And the '69 Camaro, there's something about it where people I remember my dad had one, or I had one.
Yep.
Or I worked on one. I sold one. I bought another one. And
There was one sitting in the garage for 20 years of my life.
Right.
Those things.
And we get a lot of passion, and I think in a way Big Red represents that dream project that a lot of guys started, and some finished and some didn't finish.
Exactly.
It's that sort of one that someone brought to sort of perfection, and at least tried to push the boundaries of what you can do with the car. And I always said I just didn't want to change the look too much. I mean, if you change it too much, you no longer have a '69 Camaro.
That's it.
And why would anyone care anymore?
Yeah.
We really try to keep the look to be the shape of the '69.
You don't want to turn it into a novelty or a toy car or something like that. That's like, hey, look at how crazy we can make stuff. That's something that goes right back to what we were saying before y'all joined us. I was actually saying that myself, that like as someone who loves classic cars, I'd much rather have a $9,000-$10,000 beater than a $30,000-$40,000 car with an $8,000 paint job that I can't drive on a Saturday.
Right.
It's just going to be garage kept the whole time.
Right.
I think you bring up a great point. I mean, a lot of the magic is getting the cars back to original. Having all the same numbered parts. Even when people talk about the original paint or painting it the original color, so it has that original look.
And that's something to be brought up. How original is Big Red as far as the engine goes? Is it a matching serial number to body, all that kind of stuff?
I've gone through a lot of effort to keep the car looking like a '69 Camaro, but in all
But under the
honesty,
hood, it's
there's not
just
much
a race
under
motor.
the skin.
But it is a stock steel body. It's GM fenders. They're not even aftermarket fenders. And we run a carbon fiber hood, and we just put on a carbon fiber deck lid with this new restoration we're doing on it. Just trying to take a few pounds off.
Right.
That's it.
But you can still knock on the fenders and the doors.
Yeah, metal fenders,
all steel.
glass windshield at the angle that it was made from the factory. People over the years, along with my crew guys, are like, "Hey, why don't we just lay the windshield down 10, 15 degrees and go make a huge difference?" And I go, "Yeah, but you won't have Big Red anymore."
Yeah, it won't be a '69.
Because you'll look at it and you'll tell that we pancaked it out, and you'll see it, and then it will no longer be that car that guy worked on in his garage when he was younger.
And not to take away anything from guys that are doing pro mod and stuff
no,
like that.
it's
just
They're really
another thing.
going
Yeah.
fast.
Well, and that was the point that I was making, is that, whenever you're doing these restorations, whenever you're doing mods, you really have to consider the market that you're going for, and because the more mod you put into a resto, like, you can start losing market. You can start losing interest from certain people. As cool as the new stuff is to put on it, it can kind of detract from what you're trying to do,
or
and really detract from the auction market that you're looking for.
Or it can add a lot of value for people like me, which, I love classic cars, I always have, but, when I was walking through and I was looking at, I think it's this car right here, actually, this Chevelle that's got a 527 in it. It's just, it's just an absolute beast. It looks like a freak car. Like, I've always just been totally in tune with those sort of things. So,
Yeah,
it's,
there
it's
is
a
no
matter of
right or
taste.
wrong. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, the car world, gearheads, everyone has their own dream and their own passion they want to pursue. And, Big Red is just one of those combinations. And, it was something me and my dad came up with when I was a lot younger back in the late 80s. And it's just been a great ride ever since.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a few minutes before we wrap up this segment for the hour. So tell us a little bit more about Big Red, the website, where people can go to get information about Project Hero, everything else. Josh?
Well, if you've got a couple of minutes, I mean, kind of ironically, RJ and I produced a television series that actually aired on NBCSN last July, August, and September. It was called Big Red, the Original Outlaw Racer. It started as a sort of just a passion project between he and I. I'm a filmmaker in Hollywood, and of course I read the article in Hot Rod Magazine back in the February 1990 issue. Joe Pettit rode in the car in Silver State. And I contacted RJ about 6 years ago and said, what do you think? And he said, let's do it. And that ended up as this series that ran on the same network that you're watching Mecum on right now. When the filming goes on, the ongoing exploits of the Original Outlaw Racer and the now fastest Camaro in the world, and 69 Camaro in the world.
That's right.
And we're going to launch a new website in about a week. It'll have a e-commerce store on it. You'll be able to pick up all your Big Red merchandise and things that you put out.
That's at BigRedCamaro.com.
Yep.
All right.
And lots of probably a rebroadcast of the show, DVD coming soon. Obviously, all the VOD platforms, Hulu or Netflix, wherever we kind of find a home for it, and then YouTube for bonus content and some quickie videos that we'll put out. And look for us at Pikes Peak this year, and then to go conquer some more of the straight mile stuff, Texas, and going back to Mojave with the EFI and try to keep that big motor together and bust out about a 260, 265 maybe they think it can be.
Yeah, and I mean,
awesome.
We had some issues with the supercharger leaning the engine out, and so that limited what we could do with it. I think we've got that all worked out. At least we worked it out completely on the dyno, and I do expect us to come back and be able to go back to these mile and a half events and beat 251. So
nice.
It'll be
Nice.
interesting.
Well, and please, I'll give you all some contact
Real
info
nice.
as we wrap up here. I'd love to keep in contact with you guys, especially whenever y'all are here in Texas, stuff like that.
Right.
We'd love to be able to come out, talk with y'all, check out the event, everything else.
We've already been talking to Shannon and Jay about October at the Beeville event. So,
Great.
Nice.
Well, yeah, we'd
Real
definitely
nice.
love to hop out there and check you guys out.
These Texans are crazy down here.
Oh, man, we are all about racing, dirt tracks,
Kelly Bice
everything,
and
man.
those guys with that GT40, he just clicked off a 279.9 a couple weeks ago in a mile. Holy crap.
Crazy.
Well, Big Red actually has the record at the Texas Mile for normally aspirated. That was 218.
217.1.
217, yeah.
Wow.
Naturally aspirated with a dual quad tunnel ramp setup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But we want to come back and compete for the big times. I don't, be a question whether or not we can beat 279, but I'll certainly try.
Well, we want you to keep coming back, and we want you to keep that big red hat on your head, guys, because that is an absolutely amazing thing to be running that kind of speed on a naturally aspirated engine.
Yep.
Well,
It's
thank you.
absolutely phenomenal.
We'll be there.
And
That-
thank you guys for doing what you do with
Absolutely.
Project Hero and that.
Most
That's,
definitely.
I mean,
People
Appreciate
that get
that.
involved
Appreciate
with
that a whole
projects
lot.
like that are absolutely heroes in my mind
We're
because
really
you're
lucky.
taking care of the people that take care of us.
We're
So-
lucky to have the opportunity, and Big Red salutes all active servicemen and women and retired servicemen and women.
And
absolutely.
as does Dudes and Beer. Guys, RJ, Josh with Big Red Racing, I cannot express how great it was to have you guys on today. Thank you so
For
much.
sure. Thank
It was
you
an
guys
honor.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Stopping by,
See
checking
you
it
later.
out. On that note, everybody, that wraps up this second part of the Dudes and Beer podcast live from the Mecum Auto Auction. Stay tuned. We will be back in 15 minutes after our short commercial break.
Thanks for stopping by.
Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer.
Ooh, you might not ever get rich. But let me tell you, it's better than digging a ditch. There ain't no telling who you might be. A movie star, or maybe even a